Well, as Gary said, my name is Jim. Thanks for coming to see this tips and tricks on reports and widgets. A couple of things we're going to do. We're going to start out with just kind of showing some examples of reports, and we're going to focus on one in particular. And that particular one, we're going to start with saying, this is what it looks like. Then we're going to start from scratch and build that one so that you can see how that gets done. We'll add all the different components, the widgets, and we'll see what widgets are and how they work. And with time allowing, we'll have a little bit of a Q&A. So, data in, data out. We're a lot of times concerned with the data out. And of course, that's based on what came in, but still the reports nonetheless. So we've got a couple reports up here that, that we can deal with. Say, for example, a status report. This status report was built with Polarion, obviously, and it looks something like this. It's kind of a dashboard-looking kind of thing with a bunch of pie charts in here, a couple tables. The tables are showing me where the requirements are in their workflow, how many requirements we have in each one. If I were to click on one of these, say, for example, approved, number 17, Polarion will take me to that and show me those 17 work items that I asked for. Oh, it looks a little scrunched up there, so let's make it a little bigger. There we go. So there's just the 17 that we asked for. And that's one of the really strong points of Polarion reporting. It's live. Okay, let's take a look at a different report. Let's go with traceability. Everybody wants to know traceability. In fact, our traceability report will be the one we build. It's the combination dashboard traceability report. So we have requirements in the first column, requirements in the second column, test cases in the final column. So we can see very quickly that this particular item, dashboard controls, has no refining requirements or test cases. Very quick, very easy to see what's going on in any given system. Let's see, let's look at impact analysis if we want to get kind of fancy. So we can see this. Let's shrink that down a little bit. This is a different type of report that we can actually do nowadays. It came into our widgets about a year ago or so, I guess. So you can follow the trace, you can trace and see what's where and just see the connections and the relationships. Now with that in mind, we're going to start going. This is the one that we're going to build. It's kind of a dashboard with requirements by status, by severity, and verifications for these requirements by status. And there's also a requirement or a requirements and verification table, a trace table. We're going to have system requirements that have refining requirements, that have sub-refining requirements, that have test cases. And you'll see test cases, and the ones with the little black and yellow circle on the icon. This is, I believe, a system requirement as well. These are all system requirements and sub-levels. This particular one goes for 4 levels. And the same thing applies as what I just said. You can scroll down and see that this particular item, Pilot 322, has no refining requirements. Might be okay, might be something we need to look at. So we're going to build this. In order to build this, we need to find in our project an index. Now I'm going to put it in the report space under index. You click on index, the plus sign, and create a new live report. We're going to call this demo trace. Now if you were in a different index, you could change the space here. It defaults to the space you're in when you started the report, so it defaulted to report. So, okay, we're going to get our workspace for our report writing capabilities. This is our report editor. Now, on the top of the page here, you'll see the title we gave it. We have a phrase here that I usually get rid of. We can put some information in there about the report. Should have kept the other one. That's okay. Put some information here about report, what it's for, what it does, things like that. These are called regions. You can see there's a dotted line here that makes a large box. There's one here, and there's one here. So there's 3 regions on this page. In order for us to make the report we're looking for, we're going to have to get a few more regions here. So in order to put these three pie charts in a row, we need to add a region. Now we also had a region underneath for the trace table. So we don't need two regions here. So I'm going to go ahead and get rid of one of the regions. Now we have one big one. This is where we're going to put our trace report. But I'm also going to add a region above this. So now we have three regions. Two of them are stacked. Well, they're all three stacked, but there's two here are blank. And we're going to split this one into three. So the first thing we're going to do is split the region once. And we'll split another one. And we're going to adjust them to give us a size. So in this manner, you can lay out the way your report is going to look, whether it's a table or whether it's a pie chart, whatever it happens to be. So let's take a look here. In order to actually use this once we format the regions, we're going to use widgets, and they reside over here. We have quite a list of them in this particular project, quite a library. And a widget is a widget is a widget. We're going to use certain widgets to do the things we want. But if we put a cursor in a region and then click on a widget, it takes that widget and puts it in the region. So let's go with this idea. We'll go into this first region that we split out here, and we'll put in a pie chart. We have a little bit of information over here. We know that it's not specified. That's not a problem. But look what happened in the right-hand side. We need a chart title. And this title is Requirements by Status. As we come down through here, we'll see we have some parameters that we get to put in. So we're going to use this particular project. We can actually raise that up and go to the repository, or we can select a series of projects. We're going to stay in this project. We have a type of query that we can choose. Lucene is the inside version, that's the included version of Polarion that lets us do searches. And Velocity is a programming language that enhances Lucene. So we're just going to stick with Lucene for now. What are we looking for? Well, this is going to be by status, requirements by status. So requirement is a work item. You can add the work item here where it says type, which is what I prefer. Or you can add it at the query level using a type command. Looks something like this. Did I miss that? Oh, there we go. And we can select system requirement here. So I don't tend to do that. I tend to use the query to further refine the system requirement. So I'm looking for a specific type of requirement or whatever. Separated by. We're going to go, let's see, this one was status, so we're going to separate this by status. Show data labels, yes. Show zero values, no. Sure, why not? We'll go ahead and say yes. And advanced. Advanced tells me height and width of the chart, of the pie chart. Now, a pie chart itself is going to fill up the region that it's in automatically, unless I override it here. So you can also adjust the size of the pie chart by changing the size of the region in which it resides. Say apply. Okay, our first chart's done. We're going to go through this, do it again. Separated by this. Chart is going to be, for the second one, it was for, where are we separated? This one by severity. So let's do requirements by severity. Everything's the same. It's the same widget, same style. Everything's the same. So we'll just come down through here. I'm going to click requirements, and we're going to go separated by severity and apply. Here's our second one. You can see the first region here is a little smaller than the next one, so this pie chart's a little bit bigger. We can adjust that a little bit later. And then the last one, we're going to do roughly the same thing, but this one If we look at the report itself, this one is for verifications. So let's take a look at verifications. We're going to do the pie chart again. Well, this time, let's see you come down through here, verifications by status. Oops, statute. Still drive pilot. Work items going to be verifications this time. Let's see where those are. Oh, actually, I believe they were test cases, but let's look up here. System requirement, system test case. That's what we're looking for. And with no query, again, if we want to qualify this further, we can go into this query. Separated by status again. Already know the rest of that. There we go. So those two are about the right size. I'm going to just add a little bit more room here for this last one. Yeah, close enough. We'll come back to that. So that's 3 out of 4 of the items that we have to deal with. Now we're going to do this multi-select or multi-layered refinement table. We're going to build this. So let's see. We're going to use a widget. We know that. I'm going to use a special widget here. Let's click in. I'm going to look at traceability widgets. And I'm going to use a multi-level traceability widget. Now, this one's a little more complex. I want to make sure the cursor is in our region and click on the widget. This one's a little more complex in the sense that it has more parameters that we have to deal with. And it's got some that we're not going to mess with today, but nonetheless, they're here, and we'll go through one of them real quick. Top, very similar to the others, have Lucene query. Work item type is going to be that system requirement. When we come down through the query, the show suspect items only, no. Show linking children, yes. You can make this look at children or look at the parents by either linking or backlinking. That's what this is doing for us. Referenced items, no. Follow the links across projects, no. But that's kind of important. Polarion will let you report across projects. So you can have one report that, if you say, for example, you're managing 5 projects, you can have one report that includes data from all 5 reports, which is nice. So we have that. First column details. We're going to open this up a little bit, give it a title. The title we're going to give it is System Requirements. Display working items. Yeah, we're going to do that a little bit. And what we're going to actually display here is the description field. So let's take a look at that. I can actually display anything that's available within the Polarion project here. For the purposes of this, this demonstration, we're just going to go with description just to show the process. And we'll get rid of none. Say OK. So now we've got description. Got a few more things down here. We're going to say collapse fields by default. I'll explain that in a few minutes. Actually, I'll explain it now. You'll know what's happening down here. You see this plus sign? This is saying collapse by default. So if I want to expand it and see the description, I can click on the plus sign. We'll see that in action after I save this report. If I said no, it would actually just go ahead and show the description underneath, and it would be a minus sign for me to collapse it if I didn't want it. Display links to resources, no. Display last execution test results, no, don't care about those. So that's column 1. Let's look at column 2 here. Column 2 is going to be very similar. So we're going to add a column title. This is going to be subsystems, I believe, refining requirements. All right. Now, something I missed on the first pass is the link role. Polarion deals with links and link roles. So you can actually search or limit your search here based on a link role. So if you had 2 different types of link roles, so connecting this item to different types of work items, or even the same type, but just different roles, you can filter it here. So we come down, let's see what we got here, different projects only. No, we're good. Down through here, work item description again. We're looking for the system requirement at this point. But we're also looking at the system test case at this point. So we need both of those. So this is kind of where you need to understand the data that you have in your system, what you're actually looking for. Query, don't care for now. Display work items, yes. And then we'll get back with the description here. Just filling in some easy things to get the concepts across. And let's see, where are we? We come down a little bit farther. All right, so that's the second column. Third column, we need to add a column, which is over here at the bottom right corner. Click on this, we have a column. And I believe we call this sub-refining requirement, so that's another level down. Notice how it's kept the data from the prior column for us, so that's nice. We can come in through here because a lot of this isn't going to change. All of the yeses and nos are going to stay the same. The work item types are the same because we know that data. We'll keep the description. So this part, really easy. Then the last column, add that, and we will call this something a little different. I believe we call this verification. Everything else, I think, is going to stay the same. Yeah, we could have either another system requirement, but we're really most interested in the system test case. So we come down through here, query to execute work items, don't need that. Again, no, description's already set for us. This is good. Down through here. Now, if I want to change on the report level, the background color for the table, the heading color for the table, then I can do that here. I can also add or not add a table border. I'm going to leave that at no. And say apply. And we get something that looks like this. Okay, let's scroll down here a little bit, see if we have something with a little bit more fulfillment. There we go. We got some down here. So we have pilot 315 has a sub requirement of 16. That one actually has a test case here. This one, as we come across, goes all the way out for the final verification. So this is how we build that type of a report. This one's a little different. I think maybe I did it in a different project here. We'll find out. When we're done, we'll click on the save. We'll save all of that. Of course, you can save it at any time you like. And click on back. And now we have an actual report that we can use on a regular basis. Keeping in mind that it is dynamic. So as you're using your information, as you're using your Polarion system throughout the day or the week, you're going to be changing the data. You're going to be adding requirements, adding refinements, adding test cases, removing things, taking things and you don't care about them anymore. You're going to move them from different statuses. You might, just want to do statuses based on the approved or something similar to that. And that will change the end result of your report. So, what do you do with your report if you want to keep it? Well, there's a couple things you can actually do. Let's take a look at this gear. Now, I should back up here a little bit, but I clicked on the center. I can export this to PDF, or I can print it. I can download it. So there's some things that you can do with your reports once you have them created. So this one's a little small. We could go back and adjust it now that we can see that it is actually a little bit small. And it's pretty much equal to this one. Okay. So all the information that we collected, this is the one we started with, the requirements trace. This is the one we built, the demo trace. All right, now keep in mind, we're going to go back to these reports for just a minute, and we will look at I'll say the first one, the issue dashboard. Give you an idea of what this took. So remember this one, this is what we started with. So let's take a look here. We're going to expand this and edit it. We can see here, Oh, here we go. Here's the pie chart. This is how we fill out the pie chart. So we have the ability to create these projects or these reports. Look at a slightly different one. See what it looks like. We choose current status. Edit this one. So you can see these are all in their regions. They're this particular one, for example, if we look at this as a different type of widget. It's type defect, it's not been resolved. So this is just opening up and telling me everything that's necessary there, items by status. Unresolved defects, this would be a table most likely. Table block, yeah. As we come down here, this is all there is to creating this particular portion of the report, this table. All we have to do is come down through the top parts, which we know very well by now. Select the type we're interested in this case, a defect. Tell me what we want to see as far as columns across the page are concerned. Give me a sort process, hit apply, and you get this type of a report. So I'm going to take this back. So I've been talking for about 25 minutes. Are there any questions?
Yeah, Jim, we do have some questions that have been going around the chat. Right. I'll just go through the top of them, and some of them we've kind of answered, but it's probably worthwhile to verbally say some of them. So the first one was, can you get all the widgets from Siemens and add them to our Polarion installation? And if yes, where? What conditions might apply to using them? And so I know a lot of it can be found on our extensions page, but it may be worthwhile to talk about what comes out of the box and then what maybe is allowed. Maybe their admin, you know, depending on if they're a user or an admin, they might be seeing something different. If you want to just kind of go through some of that, would be helpful, probably everyone.
All right, so this, let's see, this is our extensions portal. And I just typed in the word widget, and there's some things that came up here. Let's see, we've got a Gantt widget, work item calendar. This is a series of widgets I think deal with CVS type files. So you can find widgets up here, items by status widget, for example, traceability widgets, charting widgets. So there's a lot of widgets up here. Now, when you look at one of these, let's say stack bar, this will tell you, you can just download it from here, but this will tell you whether there's a cost for it. Quite honestly, I don't think I've seen a fee-based widget. And who supports it? Okay. Widgets can be created by you. If you like programming, you can actually, there's a direction, there's a pamphlet, a guide that tells you how to create a widget. And you can put it up here if you want to share it, or you can keep it internal. Now, what comes out of the box? Unfortunately, there's no standard. When you install Polarion and then you install a template, some of the templates come with widgets. If the reports are built in, then they're going to need the widgets, and those come with it. Where can you put a widget library? Well, you can download widgets from here. You can get widgets from us. Sometimes we know of widgets that aren't in this particular library here, and they're free, so we can give them to you. They can be installed either in the project by project basis, which I personally prefer not to do that, or they can be installed at the global level so that every project can have all the widgets that are available on your site. Next question, Gary.
So the next question is, can we show commits from the external repository, i.e. Git for source code in the report? I would assume, depending on the template, you can, as long as the information's in Polarion, but I guess
so we want to see
more eloquently than me.
So we want to see the link to the source code from the report? Is that what we're asking?
Yeah, can you show the commits from the external repository? And then it's GitHub for source code in the report.
Yeah, well, we can definitely link to the source code. That's not an issue. and it will be linked based on the most recent commit.
So I guess
that can be put into a report. Yes.
So the answer is yes. Okay, good. And then can the pie chart show the percent, or we need velocity script for that? I don't know if that's too in depth, but that was one of the final chat questions.
Well, okay. So when you get a widget, whether it's from us or from this site here, wherever you find that widget, you get the source code. So you can change it if you so desire. Now, that having been said, the charts themselves, that's one, yeah. The charts themselves show a count as opposed to a percentage. There was nothing in the widget parameters that allows you to change that. So it's very possible, though, that you could take the counts, and I'm talking about coding now, I'm talking about updating the widget, creating a new widget from an existing widget. You can take the total count and divide these into there and make a percentage and put it in where this is showing a count instead of a percent, or you put a percent instead of a count. But there's nothing in the widget at this point that I'm aware of that allows anything to be changed to percentage.
Okay.
Anything else?
Well, there's nothing else in the chat, but if anybody else has a verbal question they'd like to ask, we've got about a minute or so left, so feel free. While I'm waiting, I'd like to thank a few of you have sent some suggestions in, one of them here on the chat. We did receive that, and as well, I got some email suggestions as well, so we'll be evaluating those.
Yeah, it's quite here. Quick question. For the do we have a traceability stack? Meaning, can we keep count of how many has not yet been traced instead of scrolling down and looking what is the refining requirements or sub-refining requirements? So do we have something similar, but just the number, the count?
There is actually a count capability just for counting. Now, that having been said, you said you want a report that shows you items that have not been traced. Is that correct?
Yes.
All right. So
the number that has not been traced. Correct. Yes.
All right. So we don't keep track of whether or not something's been traced. However, if you had a requirement that had no children, no sub-requirements, no test cases, nothing like that, tracing it would be worthless. It merely exists. There's nothing to trace. Okay. But see, because of the nature of the reporting and the work items, I could have a work item that gets traced 27 times in 27 different trace type reports, and another one that doesn't get traced at all because of the filters that are being put in it. And I would have no way of knowing that that other one had never been traced whatsoever. So what we generally do is we look at something that we call an orphan report that tells me that there's a work item out there that has neither a parent nor a child. And we say, okay, so if that was in a trace report, it would be there. And I guess theoretically it would be traced because it's in there. But it has no trace pattern. It has no linkage downstream or upstream.
Okay. I think orphan report will work fine. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
So we are running a little short on time, so I apologize. There is one more question that was added to the chat. I'm going to cover that. If you have other questions, feel free to email them to your representative, and we can definitely get them answered for you. We'll be glad to do that. But this final one is it possible to connect two widgets, i.e. updating the table based on the selection in the pie chart?
Are we talking about, like, okay, so I appreciate the question, and if the author is still online, please just chat back or come online and answer this yes or no. Are you talking about if this changes, this item, like say, for example, I delete it maybe, it comes out of here? Out of the pie chart? Is that what we're looking at here?
Oh, yes, he said yes. I couldn't see if he's online, but he is answering yes.
Okay. So what will happen? Remember what I said is that this is a dynamic report. If I were to go online and for some reason take 313 out of the picture, then it will not show up the next time I run this report. The count will be one less, and it won't be here. Is that a satisfactory answer? Yes, no?
I'm waiting for the answer.
Uh-huh.
I'm not quite sure on the two widgets thing though, Jim. Is that he said yes, so the answer is yes. So I guess you answered.
Okay. Okay. Good. Now I will add, because this kind of walks on the fringe of something that you may need to know. Widgets do not talk to each other in the report itself. They're not capable of doing that. With something we're working with, or working on, I should say, trying to find the merits and trying to find the best way to do something like that. But at this point, widgets cannot talk to widgets.
Okay. Well, thank you, everyone. I apologize again for going a little over.